Alright guys, this is my first tutorial. I'm going to be showing you how to make Boolean doors that have two keys with variable triggers for bucket. So let's just jump right in. We're going to start with key 1, and we're going to start with variable triggers click, because we want to click the sign at if, which is our conditional statement, the Boolean for the variable player name dot key 1, and this is just this is what it's going to be. This is the variable and this is the object. You are the object, the variable is key 1. So if the Boolean for the variable player name dot key 1 is false, so it says if the key is inactive, variable triggers click at set bool. So we're going to turn on the Boolean, or we're going to make it true. So we're going to activate the key by doing variable player name dot key 1 true. So this activates the key. Ta-da! And now we're going to move on. We're going to let the player know that the key is active. Variable triggers click at player, and this will broadcast to the player only. Ampersand, and I'm just going to use a color code for this because I like using them. For active. So the key is active. Ta-da! Okay, now we're gonna go variable triggers click, and we're gonna put in an else block, if I can spell. Now this just says we've already done the if and then for the first statement else. So we're gonna do another if. So variable triggers click at if the Boolean for the variable player name dot key 1 is true. So if the key is active, we want to deactivate it. So variable triggers click at set bool for the variable player name dot key 1 false. So this turns off the key again. So then we're gonna let the player know. So variable triggers click at player key 1 is, and another color code, inactive. Okay, now let's test it out. Key 1 is active. Ta-da! Key 1 is inactive. Active, inactive, active, inactive. Worked. So let's move on to key 2 really quick. It's going to be the same thing, except instead of key 1, it'll be key 2. Make sense? Okay. We're gonna set it. So this is just turning on key 2, I think. Yeah. Okay. Key 2 is active. Okay. Else. if key 2 is true, so if it's on, we're going to turn it off. And then we're going to tell it that key 2 is inactive. Okay, now we need to go back to this one, and we need to do it over there as well. And we're going to end ifs. So this, anytime you use an if statement, you need to end it with an end if. So if you use two if statements, you need two end ifs. So variable triggers click at end if. Recycle the command. Okay, and do the same over here. Okay, we have our keys set up. So let's get the door set up. So we're going to do a walk trigger. So we're going to go variable triggers walk at if the Boolean for variable player name dot key 1 is true at, gosh dang it, I added it to the wrong one. Variable triggers click or walk. Remove. We're going to try this again and put it on the right trigger. So variable triggers walk at if Boolean player name key 1 is true. So if key 1 is active, then we're going to do an and statement. So variable triggers walk at and Boolean for variable player name dot key 2. So and if variable player name dot key 2 is true, then we want to open the doors. So we do let's do toggle blocks for the sake of simplicity. Variable triggers walk at toggle block, ta-da, and then we'll redo it again because we need to toggle the other block, ta-da. Okay, so now if you walk on this, if you have both of these active, it should work. I'm not going to test that just yet because I want to add a sound. So we're going to do variable triggers walk at sound, and I'm going to make a door toggle sound. So door toggle. So we're going to set the location, and it's right in front of it, and there, ta-da. Okay, so now when we open this, it should make a door opening and closing sound. So key 1 is active, key 2 is active. Nope, I messed something up. So I figured out what I did. When I went to set the Boolean for this one, this true was here. This doesn't work. There has to be a space in between the equals and the true. There has to be a space on either side of the equals. So that's what I did. That's what I messed up on. It works now. You even have the door sound. See, look. Ta-da! Door, door, door. Okay. And see. Alright, so let's now work on the other one. I haven't put in the end ifs. The only thing I have in, the last thing I put on was the sound. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in an else block. So variable triggers walk at else. And then I'm going to do another if. So variable triggers walk at if Boolean for variable player name dot key1 is false. So if the key1 is off, variable triggers walk at, or if the Boolean for variable player name dot key2 is false, so if key2 is off, so if key1 or key2 is off, then we want to put, I want to make a sound, so let's go variable triggers walk at sound zombie chew wooden door. So this will just make the sound that when a zombie is pounding on the door. So the location will be right there. There. Okay. So we have the sound set up. And we do our end ifs, and we should be done. So variable triggers walk at end if. We'll do it again. We had 2. And that should be that. So we have key 1 and key 2. So let's deactivate both of these and try and walk over it. So we go, yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't like it. Okay, let's activate key 1. Maybe just key 1 will do it. Nope, key 1 doesn't do it. Okay, let's deactivate that. Let's try key 2. Nope, still doesn't work. Okay, so let's do both key 1 and key 2. Ta-da! You can get in. You can get to your diamond. And close on the way out. So big vantage point is these keys don't have to be right here. You can put them way the hell over there or all the way over there. It doesn't really matter where they are as long as they're in the same world. So it makes for kind of an interesting challenge. You could do a maze that way. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. Play around with it. I'll be back with another tutorial soon. Like, comment, subscribe. I'd like some feedback. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks.